Subject of today's hearing, this is an oversight hearing, is teacher and principal turnover versus retention in the district's public schools.
Ever since the 2007 School Reform Act, we've seen a high turnover in administration and teachers throughout the district. And that concerns me because we are able to transform our young people through relationships and stability. And for a lot of our young people, especially east of Anacostia River, they have instability in the homes and in the families. And so we know as a government, we have to do our part in ensuring they have stability in the schools.
First, we know that teachers leave at a significantly higher rates than comparable urban districts. That turnover costs us. In fact, if we were just able to bring turnover down to the national urban average, we would have saved $40 million over the past 5 years. And teachers who are leaving are not just ineffective. If you look at that bottom of the graph, you can see the majority of teachers, in fact, that we've lost in the past 7 years have been effective or highly effective, even under that rating system. In fact, we've been advocating for years for flexible scheduling, which is shown as the top thing that would keep teachers.
Still, in the 5 years leading up to the pandemic, the level of teacher turnover was not only higher than that in the country nationally, but other cities. The average DCPS school loses 20% of its teachers each year, half within 3 years, and 2/3 within 5 years.
In survey after survey, one reason above all others has stood out as a reason teachers are leaving DC public schools for other opportunities. DCPS's punitive and biased evaluation system known as MPACT. MPACT has instead created an environment that, according to an American University study, is racially biased, with white teachers on average receiving higher scores on the evaluations than their Black and Hispanic counterparts.
Why am I so eager to retire? Just talk to any group of teachers and they'll tell you the demoralizing and infuriating stories of impact. Even principals and administrators will admit in private that the system is greatly flawed. It creates fear, apprehension, literal tears among both veterans and newer teachers.
According to research and data, Black teachers have higher expectations for Black students. Black students with Black teachers are more likely to be enrolled in gifted, honors, and advanced placement courses. Black teachers have more positive perceptions of Black students' behavior and are less likely to suspend them. Black students with at least one Black teacher in grades K-3 are 13% more likely to graduate from high school and 19% more likely to enroll in college. We must cultivate spaces for teachers to be vulnerable as they learn and grow. We do this by creating a supportive environment that demands excellence, but prioritizes development over evaluation.
Pressure on teachers and students to get back on track academically is immense. Combine that with teacher, substitute, and paraprofessional shortages, and the school building has become a pressure cooker.
In addition, schools reported that, unsurprisingly, compensation is a major factor in retaining teachers. With rising costs of living both in the district and surrounding areas, living and working in the district isn't feasible for many teachers.
Why do you think turnover is highest at our schools with the highest at-risk population?
Study shows is that it is not because of the challenges working with students, but it is rather because of the types of policies imposed on schools with a high number of at-risk students are very different. And so there's a lot more mandates and much less professional autonomy and trust in schools with higher at-risk students.
Just to add on to what Mr. Goldstein said, really having flexibility in schedules is one way to recognize teachers as professionals, right? So students need to be in school 5 days a week in most cases, but teachers don't necessarily.
While KIPP DC is proud of our efforts to recruit and retain excellent teachers, it continues to be a challenge to keep teachers for the entire school year.
One of the things that we're doing as a school is working on a 4-day work week schedule to provide our teachers 1 day off that they can actually breathe.
I want to work within systems I trust, and in turn, I want to be trusted to do my work as a teacher. Teachers want to thrive, and we want to be accountable to our students and our communities, and in turn, we deserve our school environments to be accountable to us, utilizing metrics of accountability that do not simply rely or default to being punitive. It doesn't work for children and it doesn't work for...
During a time when mental and physical health has taken a hit over the pandemic, we allow teachers to have the space for joy and curiosity in their communities. And we don't chastise or overwhelm those of us that are struggling.
When I was a new teacher, I was fortunate to have a group of coworkers who nurtured me through my first years. There's nothing more valuable for a new teacher than having mentors.
Yet, schools have been expected to operate as if times are normal, while other professions are being given grace to stay safe by working from home every day or several days a week. In case some do not know, our staff members have families too.
My 18 years with DCPS, I have experienced bias, discriminatory, and dysfunctional leaders. We need great leaders.
When I think about why I've stuck around, a few reasons stand out. Number one, people. Number two, innovation. And number three, compensation. First, people. Garrison has become my school family. When you are surrounded each day by family, it's hard to leave. Schools that honor staff and support their well-being as whole people tend to keep them longer. Education is difficult, mission and values-driven work, and most educators do not get into it for the money. That said, when done right, teaching is literally brain surgery and deserves to be compensated as the highly skilled profession that it is.
Some factors that have kept me here over the last several years have been our commitment to race and equity work, compensation, content area support at my school, and commitment to a strong school culture. With teaching a self-contained classroom, I can build close-knit relationships with my families because of the student-teacher ratio.
My source, God, put me in Washington, D.C. to teach children in Ward 7 and 8, but I'm no longer finding joy.
You don't burn out when you're under great leadership. You don't. The leaders will actually shield you from the chaos that may be happening with senior leadership above.
We need to invest in high quality teacher preparation, and we should consider expanding the Grow Your Own program that OSSE is launching this coming year and create more opportunities to help educators pay for comprehensive and appropriate education that will make them feel prepared and help them provide an education our students deserve.
Teachers who are trusted to do good work and have the flexibility to do what they know is right, feel respected, will push themselves to grow, and will stay in the classroom longer.
Our teachers and school leaders have been nothing short of heroic throughout this pandemic.
Taking the flexibility of hours a little bit more creatively by making sure all of our teachers and all of our schools have instructional coaches, like some of our teachers spoke about, that can come into classrooms with teachers teach for the teachers and give them time to observe other teachers or do planning allows for that. And one of the things we're exploring is how do we get leaders ready to lead in those schools? And we've created RISE residencies to bring some of our top assistant principals and get them a year of learning in some districts for schools that are struggling, like our one-star schools, our CS1 schools. There's often a mechanism in many districts to tighten controls of what they do and not give the autonomy and creativity and flexibility and really believe in the people to like get the work done as they know it best. Our point of view on that with our CS1 schools is the exact opposite.
But one of the complaints from the that I heard today and I've heard before today is there's too much testing. So you just said there are 2 tests a year?
A term. So we narrowed the amount of work our teachers are doing and said, we're going to figure out and focus on the core curricular learning of this grade. And then we built RCTs around that.
Yes, there's a test every week.
I think that we want to make sure that the assessments we're asking our students to take are well-timed and important.
What changes are being made to impact?
To the statement made by several about impact being a racist tool, I would say, yes, it absolutely is biased. And we have some data to say white teachers are performing better in DC public schools as measured by this tool than not. And we have data to say the way we have structured a compensation, Black teachers are receiving higher amounts of the funds for performing well than white teachers. So our principals are the hardest working group of people I know, and their day stretches from early in the morning when they get to that school building till closing out the days, and now during the days of COVID, making sure every single COVID incident is in our tracking system so that we can communicate as we need to.
Can't you provide somebody else to help them with contact tracing?
Yeah.
Record in this matter will close at 5 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th, 2021.